ASUS ROG XG27AQDMG versus LG 27GS95QE. And the real question is whether the pricier one earns that gap, because both are 27-inch, 1440, 240Hz OLED panels with basically the same response time. The ASUS goes glossy, while the LG stays matte, and that one choice changes how bright your room can be, how deep blacks look, and how much you fight reflections. By the end, you'll know which one fits your setup. Let's break it down. Start with the thing you'll notice within 5 seconds of turning either one on, which is how the picture actually hits you in a dark room. The ASUS uses a glossy WOLED panel, and glossy means the surface reflects light like glass instead of scattering it, so blacks look deeper and colors get that painted-on look that people fall in love with. Owners describe the OLED curse, where every other screen looks flat afterward, and honestly, that reaction shows up over and over. The LG, on the other hand, keeps an anti-glare matte coating, and colors still come through vivid despite that layer, which is the part that surprises people who assumed matte kills the pop. Here's the real trade-off. If you've got a window or a lamp behind your chair, the ASUS turns into a mirror during dark scenes. And that's not a small annoyance. That's the difference between seeing an enemy in a shadow or not. There's also a complaint worth knowing about the ASUS, which is near black detail getting crushed on some units, so shadow-heavy games aren't always flawless. In a light-controlled room, the ASUS gives you the more impressive image. In a bright one, the LG is the one that stays usable. That difference in coating carries straight into brightness because it changes what you're fighting. Both are rated with the same enormous contrast, at 1.5 million to 1, so pure black is pure black on either. Where they split is HDR headroom. The ASUS claims 1300 nits at peak, and the LG carries Display HDR True Black 400 certification, which is the standard built around old black levels rather than raw brightness. In practice, both look excellent in HDR games, and the LG got a real brightness bump over its predecessor that owners with calibration tools have measured themselves. One catch on the ASUS. Early firmware shipped with a broken HDR implementation, and the fix is a firmware update people commonly recommend doing before anything else. Not a deal breaker, but you shouldn't have to do that on a monitor this expensive. Speed is where the spec sheet stops helping you, because both hit 240 Hz at 1440 with the same 0.03 millisecond response. Nobody's winning on paper here. What matters more is how stable they feel when your frame rate swings, and that's VRR flicker, the brightness wobble OLEDs get when refresh rate jumps around. Both can do it. The difference is the ASUS builds an anti-flicker tech aimed specifically at that problem, while on the LG there are buyers who describe having to just live with it during unstable frame rates. And one ASUS owner mentioned flickering that turned out to be a cable that couldn't carry a 240 Hz signal, which is worth remembering before you blame the panel. For competitive shooters, the LG is still brilliant, and plenty of people play ranked on it daily. But if you're sensitive to brightness shifts, the ASUS handles that scenario better. And all of that only matters if the panel still looks right in 2 years. Both run pixel cleaning cycles, and yes, those take several minutes and interrupt you right when you want to play. The ASUS backs it with 3 years, including panel burn-in plus a custom heatsink and airflow design built to keep the panel cooler. The LG covers burn-in for 2 years. That extra year isn't nothing when you're spending this kind of money. Both have their care quirks though, and on the ASUS, the automatic dimming when you switch between windows is noticeable enough that people go into the menu and turn those settings off. Long-term owners on both sides past a year of heavy gaming report the panel's holding up fine. Quick word on text, since a lot of you will browse and use Discord on this thing. Both use the same sub-pixel layout that causes fringing on 27-inch OLEDs, so neither is a spreadsheet monitor. One ASUS owner returned theirs specifically over blurry text on websites, while an LG buyer said it's only visible sitting unusually close. Same weakness, different tolerance. So where does the money go? The LG is the pricier one here, and what you're paying for is the matte coating that keeps it usable in a lit room. HDMI 2.1 on both inputs for console gaming, and that factory calibration people keep praising. The ASUS costs quite a bit less and still gives you the glossier, punchier image, the longer burn-in warranty, and the anti-flicker handling. You just give up some room flexibility, and you're doing a firmware update on day one. Here's the call. For most of you watching, I'd take the ASUS because it wins on the things you'll feel every session. The deeper glossy image, the anti-flicker handling, and the extra year of burn-in coverage. And it costs less on top of that. But if your desk sits near a window or under bright lights, the glossy panel works against you, and the LG is the one you should buy, even though you're paying more for it. And if you're plugging in a console alongside the PC, the LG's full HDMI 2.1 inputs settle that one quickly. And you, which one would you pick? Let me know in the comments, both linked below in the description.